Well, we got about 4 or 5 inches of wet snow. Oh, there's the noon whistle. Tsunami siren. Use it for a noon whistle around here. One-way test them, I guess. But anyway, I'm above the house here and got about 4 or 5 inches of really, really wet snow. And I couldn't travel in it at all. This thing wouldn't work in the wet snow. It's just not going to happen. But anyway, the snow has thawed down and iced over a little bit, and I can travel a little bit with it here. I don't know how far I can go, but kind of interesting to see if there's any tracks out. Take a look at the snow and see what I think of it. Not easy, but it's workable. I think I need tire chains. Yeah, as soon as the sun goes down a little bit, shade, the moisture in the air is already, yeah, it's already freezing in the bushes, the moisture. Oh my goodness, getting cold. A few other people walking out here. Guy carrying his kid. Crunch, 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 crunch. Well, here's the spring again, and every time I come by, regardless time of year, the water level's always the same. So it's got to be, I walked up there a ways, but I think it's got to be coming out of the hill over here somewhere. But it's definitely spring water. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Crunchy snow. Oh, look, Christmas present. It's not very frozen either. I think it's fresh. I'll let you guess what that might be. I'm sure a dog walker is gonna pick that up on the return trip. Hey, yeah, it ain't froze already yet. Snow melted a little bit. Well, it was wet snow, and a lot of people coming through, dogs, bicycles, hikers. Kind of crunched it down and refroze, and the surface not too bad for taking this walker on. Well, once in a while I hit a little icy bad spot. Yeah. Oh my goodness, it's winter, huh? Well, we got what? A couple more weeks before the sun bowl comes back. No complaint there. Yeah, it's starting to freeze again, so you can see all the patterns just now forming. The ice patterns on the muskeg here. Snow is really interesting stuff. I studied snow once. The trouble is I can't remember a whole lot of what I was doing. That's pretty. Starting to form some big ice crystals. Huh. Yeah, I studied it once. It's a great study, snow. Yeah, it's not too bad. It was impossible though when it was About 4 inches of wet snow. I could move it all. Ah, look at that, see? I've gone a mile. Well, yeah, roughly a mile from the house. Yeah, it's not too bad out here. Well, all kinds of different kinds of snow. There's powder snow and wet snow and corn snow and rotten snow and all kinds of different kinds of snow. Snow makes an interesting, yeah, very interesting study. Not too many people study snow, I guess. I kind of know what powder snow is and wet snow for skiing and stuff. But you know, when the powder snow falls, it muffles sound. That's why it's so quiet when the powder snow is out on the ground here, covered up, muffles sound. Can't hear hardly anything. I'm going deaf in my right ear anyway, but that's another story. But then when the snow melts and gets crunchy, I can hear people coming from a long ways off and talking. It just magnifies sound, like they're talking in a drum in the distance. But yeah, snow's an interesting. Damn, blast it. About when I needed to get it. I took some notes too this morning before I left about snow. Kind of curious. I'll take a look what I wrote. Like I said, I was never very smart, and I'm sure not the smartest turnip in the back of the truck. But yeah, they got powder snow and crust snow, slush. Yeah, every single snow crystal. None of them are the same. I think the largest snow crystal ever found was like 2 centimeters or something. Anyway, if you look at snow under a microscope, you're going to see prisms and plates and dendrites and crystals, columns, and needles. Then we got what's called grime ice or dirty snow. I don't need to tell you what yellow snow is. Like I said, powder snow really absorbs sound. Just makes it really quiet. But when you get the wind crusty snow like this, crusted over, melted, freezing over again, it amplifies sound. Kind of interesting, isn't it? You haven't studied sound. That's something truly interesting to study too. You know, here at Sitka, one of the weirdest things is we get more thunder and lightning when it snows than any other time. Why? This has something to do with being close to the ocean and stuff. Anyway, I got looking at snow. I found something we were taught years ago. And they don't talk about it anymore. And it's called the Little Ice Age. And the Little Ice Age happened, well, roughly 1300 to about 1500 or 1850. It lasted a good 500 years. During that time, the Earth's temperature was 3.7 degrees below normal. Now, it had cooled off since the Roman period. And it cooled off even more after this event. And Europe, of course, had heavy rain. And Africa, oh, they had severe droughts. The Sahara Desert got really big. And as you recall, about 1000 AD, the Vikings had put settlements in Iceland and Greenland. And in about 1200 and, oh, almost 1300, the Vikings had to leave those settlements because of the cold weather. Now, what's really interesting is that the ice has been melting these last 20, 30 years, you know. And as the ice and the snow goes back up into those valleys in Greenland, you know what they're finding? Foundations to houses, fences. It was all big timber, and the axe marks are still in the snow. Sheep turds. I mean, Viking Saga were right. When they first arrived there, it was a very nice place to live in some of those valleys. And then that little ice age hit. right around 1300 and drove them out of there. Also caused famines and diseases worldwide, and mostly it was the northern hemisphere it was affected, not so much the southern, as far as they could tell. Anyway, you may have heard something called 1800 and froze to death. I remember being taught that at school. I bet they don't talk about that anymore. But in 1816, the northern hemisphere didn't have a summer. There was snow on the ground this summer. The fruit trees, they were froze, blossoms, everything. It was a near disaster. And not only that, there was a crazy couple days there, that nice clear skies, but it was dark. And they traced that to the Mount Tambora volcano in Indonesia. But 1816, that's where Hussein came. 1800 and froze to death, because that was a year of no summer anywhere in the northern hemisphere. Everybody suffered. Days were dark, massive crop failures, farm animals. Wow, they lost a lot of farm animals. Europe lost a lot of horses. But it's really interesting. There's a guy by name of Carl Drais. It's D-R-A-I-S. And Carl, because there weren't any horses for transportation, Carl invented something called the bicycle. So that's why the bicycle was invented, because the horses were all dying from the cold. Anyway, even in the middle of the hot part of the summer, people need to have fire in their house and the hearths to stay warm. It was a terrible, terrible time. And they're not quite sure what started the original ice age, mini ice age you call it, or little ice age. But they've been drilling with, drills up at Greenland through the ice cores. And they have brought up the ice cores with the ash in it, volcanic ash. But they can't, you can trace volcanic ash to the volcano it came from. They can do that now. But they couldn't find a volcano they could trace this ash to. Then they got looking at the ash, and it was composed mostly of sea bottom, the sea floor. It was sand, silt, and billions and billions and billions of little microbes that live in the ocean, and pieces of shell and other pieces of calcium, and what they call them, diatoms, and all these little microscopic little animals. What they found out is when this volcano went off, and they think now that it somewhere in the Pacific probably, that when that volcano came up, changed the world, and turned us into a mini ice age, that because of that ash was composed of the calcium and all those little microscopic little seabed animals, literally the seabed was thrown up into the sky. So instead of having just ash all over cooling the earth off, they found out that this ash is 10 times more reflective of sunlight than regular volcanic ash, because of the reflection from the little animals that were in the sand in the bottom of the ocean. So one day, about 1300, they think maybe about 1275, 1285, there was a massive eruption of a supervolcano somewhere that brought the whole Earth into, let's call it big time climate change. A 3.7 Fahrenheit degree drop worldwide. And the northern hemisphere, of course, was worse off. But anything, I thought that was interesting, read about it, because I don't think they teach that in school anymore, do they? I mean, climate change has kind of got political. Well, anyway, eventually, the truth finds you out. Yeah, I've always got to do my close-ups here. Interesting things, aren't you? I like close-ups. Yeah, there's places back here in the trees that don't have any snow at all. I found some pictures I'll put with this video. There's a bunch of pictures of snow. Kind of interesting. Some of my better ones and close-ups, snowflakes and stuff. But I'll try to add that on the video here with my jerry-rigged, got my jerry-rigged GoPro here. Whoops. Yeah, see, I get stopped every once in a while. Yeah, things like that. It's about an inch deep and been melted hard as a rock. That stops my wheels. Stops my wheels from spinning. Yeah, I got my whole camera here set on this stick here. Like, go along with it. But snow is really interesting study. You know, I did study it years ago. You know, different types of snow, slab snow, avalanche stuff. Yeah, people should be curious. They need to learn about everything. Yeah, that's kind of cool looking, isn't it? Yeah, silhouettes with the tree and the sun high in the sky for December. Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, not much snow in here, but there's a little trail here. Deer used to come down. We'll see if they left any tracks in here. There's some tracks. I think they're dog. Well, I don't see anything in here. It even looks like a deer track. Just not seeing deer tracks anywhere. Oh, golly. Oh, made it. Yeah, some large sections under here. These big spruce trees up in here. Snow never even hit the ground, probably. Yep. Oh, it's quiet back in here. Yeah, not only is it snow doesn't make it down through these big trees, but you get under the trees like this and it's actually warmer than it is out in the open. That makes another good study, is how vegetation and terrain, and ridges and gullies affect weather and air temperature. Just kind of weird sometimes, but you know, if I was a deer, I'd be back in here where it was warmer. Let's see, they got the tape up there. They got the property line between the BHA and Forest Service probably line. They can argue who gets to take care of what. Okay. Yeah, trees open up. There's a dead tree right there. Opened up and the snow fell down. But yeah, it makes a big difference when you're backpacking. I learned that back in the 70s when I was solo backpacking in the Olympics, that you could camp in one spot, be nice and warm at night. You can camp in another type of spot and freeze to death. Huge differences in temperature, and whether you're on a ridge or a gully, or if there's a downdraft coming from up above or updraft from down below. Looks like they lost a tree in here. Came in and took it out. Busy little people. I'm glad they're maintaining this trail. I just hope that they get smart and move some of the big rocks that are blocking access to wheelchairs and vehicles like this. And you need about 30 inches, maybe 32. That'll stop anybody in an ATV or a vehicle from getting on here, but it's nice to let the people with the wheelchairs get on. There are some people too local that got motorized wheelchairs. Maybe we take care of that. I don't know how much farther I'm going to go. I'm too nice, don't want to go home. Yeah, it's fun to come up here and see pieces of the old trail. Here, let's see where they cut it so you wouldn't slip on the log. And there's a spike. Boy, that's a big one too, like a railroad spike. That's neat to see the old stuff, even though it's all, I don't know if there's any little people or trolls living in there. Better off not knowing. Anyway, Baranof Island, we don't have wolves here. Some of the other islands have wolves, but we don't have any. We don't have any black bear either. A friend and I saw a wolverine up on the next island up on Chichikov. We were told there were no wolverines up there. We said, well, we seen one. So I reported it to Fish and Game, and after a while they called back and said, we got more reports of wolverine on Chichikov Island. So now Chichikov has wolverines. Ain't that far of a swim to get to Admiralty. I think they can make it pretty easy. That Chichikov doesn't have any wolves either. Now we used to have foxes, but they were on fox farms. Out on the islands, people used to raise foxes by the hundreds for pelts. And I've never heard of any of them that got away and set up a wild population. But oh, they also tried to put elk one time on Cruise-Off Island, but the brown bears ate them. They gave up on that too. Sheldon Jackson, who used to help set up the college here, and quite a story about him, but he was big into reindeer herding. He tried to get the Alaska natives to herd reindeer like Laplanders. They brought a bunch of them in, but I don't think they ever brought any to Sitka. We used to have some horses in Sitka. I mean, one time we were a 3-horse town. That was big. I don't think we've had a horse here for a long time. Yeah, that water is rushing through there. Looks like we got some more trees down here. We had a big windstorm last week. It blew about, I think it got up to 62 maybe, 62 miles an hour. I seen it blow, I think the most was about 15 years ago. It blew like 82 or 84. Let me tell you, in the woods like this, the sticks and the brush and the stuff were flying through like weapons. People were throwing rocks and sticks at you. If you didn't get behind a tree, you could have got killed. It was really howling. kind of got to the point where it got scary howling. I think I got some video of some of it on my website, I mean on my YouTube site. Well, we made it here to the chair. So we're a good mile and a half or better from the house. I'm getting tired. Oh. It's nice up here. I really don't want to leave. Now I got my glamorized GoPro here on the end of a stick. Actually, it's on the long end of a tripod. Anyway, it's nice up here. I kind of don't want to leave. But it's getting close to, imagine 2 o'clock, so I better get out of here. It gets dark now about 3:30. I'm going to put a bunch of, like I said, some pictures in with this video of different types of snow and snow conditions, just for the heck of it. But yeah, it's too bad they don't teach more of this stuff in school anymore. I talk to kids about things. Well, do you ever hear about Little Ice Age? No. You ever hear about the 535 event that changed the whole climate of the planet? No. Yeah, oh well. Maybe I shouldn't read or think so much, huh? I think it's time to get out of here before I do get crazy. Yep, I have not seen one bird. I have not seen one deer track. I have not seen one timber tiger. I've seen people tracks and people and dog tracks and dogs. But I'm really surprised at how little I've seen after a snow like this. And after it warmed up a little bit today, it actually got above freezing. I usually think the little buggers would be out. It's slippery when wet. It is. I'll slip and slide across here. Yeah. Yeah, it's noticeably warmer under the trees than it is out here in the open. I bet there's 10 degrees difference. Out here it's freezing, and back under the trees it's actually kind of warm. I could have taken my coat off. Yeah, I've never downhill skied before. I cross-country skied a little bit. Did a little snowshoeing. I'll tell you something, if you want to burn a lot of calories, try snowshoeing, especially with a pack on your back. Well, heading towards the house, but it sure is colder here than it is back up there under those big trees. Tire fell into a hole, and doesn't take much to stop this thing, I'm afraid. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little video. I walked about well, a mile and a half one way or 3 miles round trip today. Not too bad. A lot of people out though today. Man, it's gorgeous. Just about freezing here, about 34. Well, it's probably freezing here. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Visit my YouTube channel and lots of videos to watch. Till then, catch you later.